Hi, I'm Dr. Tanguy, and I'm going to be talking with you about stress management. We're going to cover study habits and study skills, talking about the difference between them. Also going to be talking about attention to detail. And this portion of the course, we're going to be doing some assessment in terms of your learning style. And so I wanted to begin today with talking to you about stress and then stress management. We have, a lot of people will say we have good stress and bad stress. A lot of people even think that all we have is bad stress, wanting to get rid of our stress. Some of the things that we're going to discover in this unit is not all of our stress is bad. We're also, I'm gonna use the term, instead of good and bad stress, I like to use the terms healthy and unhealthy. We have stress that is healthy stress, that's motivating you. The stress that is motivating you to sit and watch the videos that motivate you to read, to take your quizzes and tests, that stress that's motivating, versus stress that's unhealthy, that pushes you to where we feel overwhelmed. It prevents us from doing what we want to do, that type of stress. So it's important, first of all, to look at the original. What is the original purpose of stress? There will be a video that will be provided to you that you will watch, actually probably a couple videos, that will reinforce what I'm talking about right here. So the original purpose for stress, our ancestors, they were basically, survival. That was their goal, survival for the day in, day out, survival. The types of threats that our ancestors had were physical threats. Our body needed to get prepared for those physical threats. It needed to get prepared to either fight that stress or run from it. So you may have heard of the fight or flight response, and that's where this comes in. The original purpose, our ancestors are out doing what they're doing. Here comes this physical threat, and their body gets triggered to get prepared to do something physical. All right? You may have even experienced that when you're home at night, maybe alone, middle of the night, you're in bed sleeping, and you hear, it sounds like maybe somebody's breaking into your house. And what happens to you? You become alert, instantly, automatically alert. That's what happened to our ancestors. It was for survival. We still have that mechanism that gets triggered today. We still have that today. However, our ancestors would actually do something physical. They would run or fight that physical threat. The difference with modern man is that we have threats that are no longer just physical, that require us to do something physical. We have, in fact, take a second. Think about, what are your stressors? What are your stressors? Getting homework assignments in on time. Bills. Traffic. Internet not working, and you need to get an assignment in, the internet goes down, or you're having some program problem, IT problem. These kinds of things, our brain doesn't distinguish the difference between these types of threats and physical threats. We still have that original purpose that facilitates us when we have a physical threat. That still happens. If all at once there was, we heard, gunfire, there'd be a heightened state of alert. Our body would respond physiologically. But in addition to that, our body is responding to these mental, emotional stressors. Our brain doesn't distinguish the difference. So we get into this fight or flight state. And I also have a diagram that will be provided where you can actually see in the autonomic nervous system, we have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic branches of the autonomic nervous system. And you can see what happens to your body when we're dealing with these stressors, when we get triggered from the resting state into the fight or flight state. What's happening to us is we're tending to stay in that fight or flight state, which is not what the original purpose of it was intended to do. It was intended to get us over there, do something physical, and then boom, we go back to a resting state. Today, we tend to stay in a mild, some degree, within that fight or flight response. Again, in some videos that you see, it's going to show you the hormones that are being released into your system that are kind of just continually, it's like pick, 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 just this continual pick, 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 pick. People get, your muscles ache in your neck, heart attacks, indigestion, not sleeping well. These are all side effects, things that happen to us when we get overstressed. It's important in terms of your time management and the things that you're learning in the Hallmark strategies for academic success to be able to be aware of and increase awareness of what are your stressors. One of the things that I present oftentimes is the analogy of a hot air balloon. We represent the hot air balloon. The air that's going into the balloon are our stressors. Those stressors that, I encourage you to write down things, again, bills, traffic, whatever it is that is in your life that is contributing. That's the hot air going into that balloon. We need enough stressors to make our balloon float. Most of us are familiar with having too much air going in, and we feel like we're going to explode. The opposite is not any healthier. If you don't have any stressors in your life, the balloon, no air going in the balloon, it collapses. That's not healthy. The human being is not designed to not have some stressor, air going into it. We're not designed that way. Stressors, what we consider stressors, add value, meaning to our life. When we have value, when we have purpose, you've probably heard some of the other presenters talking to you about your purpose. What's your goals? What are your goals? And your goals give you purpose. The human being is made to have meaning, purpose. But those in and of themselves are going to be a stress, but it's a healthy stress. If we don't have any of that, the balloon collapses. Person becomes bored, depressed. Any of you video gamers out there, all right? When you're gaming and you reach that top level, what happens? You got it. Maybe you go back and do it again, but you end up getting bored. You can't wait for that next one to come out. It's the same kind of thing. So I encourage you to be thinking about what keeps your balloon afloat. What are your triggers that you begin to know and recognize? What makes it so that you feel like you're going to burst? And then we begin to look at what we can do to manage. We don't want to get rid of our stress. We want to manage it. We need to manage it. So looking at those kinds of things that we can do that are going to help us keep that optimal, level of our balloon floating. Again, there will be materials and some activities, some things for you to do that's going to help you discover that if it's something that you're not already familiar with.